Hi King Fit family, this is Andrew. We got Jason with us today, and we are talking about the amateur style and how to optimize your performance in that amateur style. So, as we talked about in different videos on this series, it's important that the judges see you land those punches, because a punch that doesn't land clearly does not count as a point. And if a judge has this view and they can't see you taking ones and twos, you're taking ones and twos in the face, they don't know if it lands. But a hook is a little bit easier to see if it lands. So we're going to look today at how to end your combos with a hook using some different methods. All right. So Jason is going to be the boxer that's throwing those hooks today, and we're going to have Jason start out by throwing just a 1-2, and then he's going to use the check hook. Now the check hook is a little bit like a pivot. So let's try that pivot without even throwing the hook. Give me a pivot where you're keeping that front foot. Yep, same spot. Good. And then back. Absolutely. Nice. One more. Nice. And then back. So Jason can add on a hook as he's doing that pivot. Nice and easy. He has his gloves on. Good. And then back. Nice. One more. And this is great. Yeah, and back. This is great, especially if somebody's coming at you kind of fast. If I'm going forward, he can just check hook. Oh, and then I get punched, and he's out of the way. So let's just try a nice little drill. You can do this shadow boxing at home or working with somebody on the mitts. This is really light since his gloves on. A 1-2 check hook. And you'll notice as the mitt holder, I'm going to be stepping forward on that check hook just so he gets used to that person coming forward. So it's going to be a 1-2 check hook. Oh, nice. Good. Back here. 1-2 check hook. Beautiful. Nice. Stay where you're at. Just so you can see what it looks like for a judge. You're the judge from that view, right? You might miss that 1-2. You don't know if he's landed those, but you see him land that hook. Good, one more time. And that's important because there are 5 judges all around that ring. Good, one more time. Pop, pop, pop. And you want to make sure as many of those judges can see you land that as possible. Nice. Okay, let's turn this into a European check hook, okay? So let's just do a couple of just European check hooks, just show the movement. So you'll notice as Jason, exactly, good. So as Jason's throwing the hook, he's letting his left toes, his lead toes, almost face you at the camera as well as his hips. Let's stop right after that first punch and freeze. So here, freeze. So Jason's hips pretty much facing you. His front toes are facing that camera. So his left foot have the toes facing to the right. Nice. And then he'd step that right foot and he'd throw a right hand to kind of get back in that stance. Good. So similarly, we'll just throw the European check hook into a 2. If that opponent's coming at you, European check hook, pop, and 2. Oh, and he's now in that perfect stance and a great angle where I'm vulnerable defensively, and he can just keep loading out. One more time here. He throws that, pop, pop. Nice. Good. One more time. And I want you to end with the European check hook, okay? And you'll notice Jason can start to use that circular movement. So it's going to be a check hook, 2, check hook, right? And then he's back. He's at a quarter turn, which is great because he's got a great angle on his opponent. So see that check hook, 2, check hook. Oh, I can't catch up to him. And he's landing all those punches. One more time here. Great. Nice. And again, if you are the judge and our backs are to you, tell me how many of these you can see land. Right? At least 2 of them, those hooks make it really, really clear. The third type of hook we're going to show you is really great in the amateurs because you want to be able to land punches and not get hit. Now, if Jason throws a traditional hook with his palm facing in and his thumb, if it was out, would be facing up, yeah, you can just throw that hook up. You'll notice this is a great hook. He's got a 90-degree bend there, his elbow and his shoulder in a line, and his elbow and his wrist are in alignment. That's going to be a really strong hook. But notice how far away I would be if I had that longer guard. Hard for him to land. Now, if Jason allows his elbow, or sorry, his hand to internally rotate, or his shoulder internally rotate, to where the thumb would almost be down, he's going to have the ability to get a nice long hook. All right, so let's turn that into a nice long hook. Right, and I'm going to have this up just so you can have a little bit of a target here. Yeah, nice and long. He's just went from that long, and let's go back to that traditional hook that you showed. From there all the way to here, so you can land really nice. Let's show that from the heavy on this side, just so they can see that lead hand a little bit better. Yep, internally rotate, that long one, yep, that thumb. Again, you wouldn't have your thumb out, but if it was, it'd be facing down. Once you put your thumb out, thumbs down, perfect. That's how much internal rotation he's got in that shoulder, good. And let's do one more here. And I love this one, because if I was throwing a right hand, you got it. If I was throwing a right hand, you keep that right hand nice and close to the chest. I have that straight punch, he's blocking it, and he comes over the top of that long European. Oh, he is landed. Good. Let's try it this way, so they can see what that looks like. If I throw that right hand, see where he has that, his right hand, he's stopping like he's catching a baseball, and he's landing that to my chin. Perfect. That's a great way to deal with somebody's right hand, especially if they're showing you they're going to throw up by hitching. Oh, right? They do this, oof, or they lift that elbow up. He can be quick, land that long internally rotated hook, and score the point without taking any damage. Now, one thing to remember about this is the shoulder's a little bit more vulnerable in this position than that nice tight hook that we traditionally see. So work on the mechanics on the bag with mitts to make sure you have as much support on that shoulder as possible. If it's out here and you land, a lot harder on the shoulder. So we want to try to get that more linearly. You'll see my shoulder and my elbow are pretty much in line, and my elbow and my wrist are pretty much in line. That's going to be a little bit better on the shoulder than if you're laying that out here. That gets a little hard on the shoulder. So be aware of that as you're doing it. I hope these 3 different ways to land a hook are going to help your amateur style and help you win some more bouts. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Jason. All right. We'll see you on the next one.